There comes a moment when God stops speaking about a man and starts removing his peace. But what if you keep holding on because you are afraid that walking away means you failed? In this video, I'm going to show you the biblical truth many women ignore. Sometimes the most faithful thing you can do is walk away. When is it right to walk away from a man? Not because you're bitter, not because you're weak, but because God is calling you into peace, clarity, and purpose. If you've been wrestling with confusion, spiritual unrest, or an on again, off again circle with someone who is not just it, this video is for you. Let's dive into the signs, scriptures, and real wisdom that will bring freedom and healing. When God is in something, He confirms it with peace. That doesn't mean there won't be challenges, but it does mean that your spirit won't constantly feel restless. Colossians 3:15 tells us to let the peace of God rule in our hearts. The word rule in Greek means an umpire or referee, meaning God's peace should call the shots. If you're constantly anxious, questioning, or having to talk yourself into staying, that is a red flag. Walking away isn't always rebellion. Sometimes it is obedience. Many women say God first until it is time to let go of a man who isn't helping them honor God. If the relationship is consuming your time, energy, mental space, and even pulling you away from prayer and purpose, it's become an idol. Exodus 23 says, "You shall have no other gods before me." If you're worshiping the idea of Him more than you're pursuing God, the relationship is no longer sacred. It's spiritual sabotage. Ask yourself, is this relationship still pleasing God or just pacifying my loneliness? If you find yourself always explaining, shrinking, or filtering your full identity just to maintain a relationship, that is a sign to pause. Relationships ordained by God would never require you to abandon your God-given voice. Matthew 5:14 states clearly, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Sis, if love requires you to dim your light, it's not God's best. God's choice for you will love the entire version of who He created, not just the manageable parts. We stay too long because we believe promises but ignore patterns. He says He will change, He says it's growing, but 6 months later, the same argument, the same dishonor, the same emotional distance. Proverbs 20:11 says, "Even a child is known by his actions." Don't be so loyal to potential that you overlook what's repeatedly showing up in reality. Discernment sees truth, not just hope. If you two don't agree on core things, faith, purpose, purity, marriage, then what are you really building? In Amos 3:3, we learn that two cannot work together except they be agreed. You are not being too picky for wanting alignment. You are being wise. When God sends someone, He doesn't just give chemistry, He gives clarity. Let me share a quick story. A woman I know was dating a man for 2 years. He wasn't abusive, he wasn't terrible, but every few months he would disappear emotionally. He avoided conversations about commitment, and every time she prayed, she felt uneasy, but she still stayed. One day, after a silent prayer in tears, she said she heard God whisper, "You are delaying your own healing." That month, she walked away. A year later, she met a now husband, a man who pursued her with clarity, consistency, and godly conviction. Her obedience made room for God's blessings. Sometimes it feels peaceful because you've gotten used to dysfunction, but comfort isn't confirmation. Jeremiah 17:9 reminds us that the heart is deceitful above all things. This is why we need godly counsel, accountability, and prayer. Because false peace can feel like God's peace, but it's just emotional fatigue. Ask yourself, is this peace or just exhaustion? Is this God's voice or my fear of starting over? If you're constantly walking on eggshells, being manipulated, disrespected, or emotionally drained, this is not God's punishment. It's your permission to walk away. John 10:10 tells us that the thief cometh not but to steal, to kill, and to destroy. I come that they may have life and have it more abundantly. A godly relationship won't be perfect, but it won't make you question your worth, sanity, or safety. God is not glorified by your silent suffering. Letting go isn't always loss. Sometimes it is the beginning of what God actually wanted to give you. You're not walking away from love, you're walking toward healing. You're not walking away from a man, you're walking back into alignment with your God. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. That is the word of God for you in Isaiah 43:18 to 19. If you've lost peace, purpose, and joy, if you're constantly confused, praying with no clarity, if you are in a circle that never ends, it is time to be honest with yourself, dear. Is God asking you to walk away? Obedience will cost you, but peace is always the reward. If this video spoke to your spirit, don't just click away. Take a moment, pray, reflect, and ask God, what are you trying to free me from? Subscribe for more videos on godly relationships, healing, and becoming the woman God called you to be. And in the comment, tell me, have you ever had to walk away even when your heart didn't want to? You are not too much. You are more than enough. And sis, your healing starts with honesty. Before I let you go, I'd love for you to see the word of God in Proverbs chapter 22 from verse 24 to 25. The NIV says, do not make friends with a hot-tempered person. Do not associate with one easily angered, or you may learn their ways and get yourself ensnared. This verse highlights how staying too long in a wrong relationship can lead to spiritual entanglement, emotional damage, and the slow erosion of your identity. It reminds us that walking away isn't rejection, it's protection. Thank you for always sticking and staying with me every week. See you next week. God bless you.